Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Anna. I'm an investment advisor, and today I would like to tell you about motivational books. Actually, very often when we only start working in financial world, it is very interesting to understand how to become successful and rich. So there are a lot of literature, business literature, that is more about motivation, and there authors give advice to audience how to become famous or wealthy or successful. And when you're a child or a youth, you think that it is quite useful, but after you start working in real business, in seeing some water stones, and understand that everything is not so easy, you see that these books, it is more informal information that for everybody could be interesting, but not so useful in fact. So very often when we start reading some book, we are motivated. After reading, we think that, oh, I understood everything, I will become rich, or something like that. And you, like a placebo, think that this book was really useful. And you shouldn't forget that every person is individual and we have different background. For example, a person who grew up and was born in family of entrepreneurs, he would hear some ideas, thoughts of his or her parents and family. And for example, while you have a dinner, you always talk about financial news, about business, about situation in investment world. And so your mind developed, and this atmosphere of entrepreneurs influenced your brain, your thoughts, and your ideas. And so you, as a person, when you read a book, you understand information using, not thinking about it, information and background that you already have. And another situation will be with a person who grew up in family of actors. So they think about they talk about literature, theater. So you always watch different plays or events in theater, and your brain developed using atmosphere of art and of world of theater. And so this person, after reading the same business book, would have absolutely different thoughts, and he would do not the same as a person who has a business background. And this kind of literature could be useful, but it is more connected with people itself. So we think and understand information in different way. And so when we catch information differently, then we will use this information differently. And so one person, after reading this book, will start making his own business, and everything would be okay and he will become successful, but not because of this literature itself, but because of combination of factors. But another person who knew a lot about literature but have no ideas about investment world, for example, or business, after starting running his own business, he would fail. Not because this book is awful or it was not useful. Maybe it was useful because this book can give some points, some motivation and some advice, but the result would be different. And so, using my expertise, I can tell you that for adult people, for those who work very hard and run his own business, it would be not so useful to spend time on reading something abstract. So there are a lot of information. For example, if we talk about book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, this book has some ideas that author mentioned every page, every chapter, so the same. But this person wrote, I don't know, 20 or I think 200 or maybe 500 pages, the information that is the same, but it can be formulated differently. And so sometimes you should understand that people who write books, successful books, and this book becomes a bestseller, it doesn't really mean always that this is a really good book. This book can be written correctly, can be written interesting, but the information there could not be connected with business world at all. So there are some cases when a very successful people who really built corporations, they wrote books, but they were not so popular, and for different people it was not interesting, because motivational books are written like this: oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it is end of this book. Professional literature and books from really clever people who had a lot of failures and knowledge about the sphere, they try to use professional slang, terms, and more detailed information that not everybody can understand. So very often, if we talk about investment books, it is not for everybody. For example, if we talk about a book that was written by a person who built his own hedge fund, he worked early in very successful and big corporation in investment world, and so it is quite difficult book. This book is not about technical analysis, it is more about how to build a company and hedge fund in investment ecosystem. But also it was difficult because a person from the street would not understand how everything is connected with each other, and how everything works. And so some people not from the world of investments would not really understand, in fact, what is going on there. And so, but there are some books about investments for beginners, and they are quite easy. And for professional people, it would be like it doesn't really work like this. It is too not so detailed, and it would not help you in practice if you start doing something. So you would have a lot of questions, and So this video and this my idea was connected with the fact that some people who was really successful in the professional world in their career, they cannot write a bestseller. They can write a very good book, but some people who had strange background, or those who told that they are extremely successful, but in fact they didn't do as much as they told, and they are not as rich or as successful as they write in book, but these books become extremely popular because they had great advertisement, they had great story. This book can be useful in one side, but in reality it is more about simple ideas, motivation, and nothing connected with real situation in the world, because everybody wants to think that, oh, everything is in my hands, I will do everything, I will become a millionaire, and I don't need money, for example, for this, and everything would be okay. But a professional person would always tell you about failures, that it is quite difficult. So we don't like to think that something is difficult. But in such books, the idea that it is difficult is not so developed there. So they didn't focus on the idea that it is quite difficult. It has different risks, and you can lose everything. You can lose your life, you can lose your energy, you can lose your health, you can lose not only money, but everything. And so it is more pleasant for people to think that everything is okay, that life is amazing, and it would give you a lot of opportunities. But in fact, it is very difficult to find opportunities, to catch them, and to be able to use these opportunities. And so I think that, and what is more, sometimes people who wrote bestsellers, they didn't think about how their information is legal. So there are a lot of articles that tells society that if you do everything as it is written in this book, it would be not correct, it would be illegal, and it is more. For example, if we talk about book Kiyosaki, and maybe it is not because the author did something wrong, it is more about that situation can change, laws can change, and what was legal 10 years ago now is illegal. And so very often authors of bestsellers and such motivational business books, they don't tell you so much details. They don't give you like a step-by-step plan, and it is more common, not detailed. And so one person would think that I can do everything as he wrote in his book, and I would become a millionaire, and it would be legal. But in fact, you should always check laws, you should always check information, and it is your responsibility, not somebody else. If you do something, even if somebody tells you something, it doesn't matter. It is your responsibility. It is your choice, and law would have, and you would have problems with laws. And so I actually don't think that business literature is awful. No, it is useful in some case, but you should highly what information you catch, is it really useful or it is like a fake and it is illegal. And you shouldn't think that you should do everything as it is written in the book. It is more about concept, not details. And I think that for young people, these kinds of books, they can help them to be interested in business world itself. So they can be the first step for development in this financial world. And so in this case, it is quite amazing and quite useful for society. So I hope that you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe and see you later.